I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday weekend, but now we're back with our daily wrestling news and rumors videos. So guys, as always, make sure you check out the timestamps in the description down below. We're going to kick things off with some WWE news, then we'll go to AEW towards the end. Baron Corbin and Mustafa Ali have been called back down to NXT. And this is generating a huge conversation on social media, and largely due to the fact that a lot of people are looking at this like a demotion. Now, I highly disagree with this because I actually talked about this in April. I had a viral tweet that went out about basically treating undrafted superstars, put them in NXT as free agents. Now, WWE kind of changed a little bit of that, and they allow wrestlers to go and they can work Raw, SmackDown, NXT until they officially sign with the brand. But Mustafa Ali and Baron Corbin were two free agents who appeared on NXT last night, and a lot of people are wondering why they are doing this. Well, guys, there's a variety of reasons, and we're going to talk about them, but the first one and the main one is to freshen up the television program. WWE has call-ups planned. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But with WWE doing NXT call-ups and constantly refreshing the roster, this will keep the rosters really fresh for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And keep in mind, NXT is a developmental program, so when you see a guy like Baron Corbin attack Carmelo Hayes, this is giving Carmelo Hayes the opportunity to work with somebody who's actually experienced on the main roster. And it also allows WWE to give these guys an opportunity to do something different. Mustafa Ali is somebody who has actually wanted to work with people in NXT for a while. And if I remember correctly, he was on NXT at some point. But I believe it was like maybe a one-off or like a very, very short period. But a lot of people have been wondering, like, what is the premise of this? Like, why are they doing this? And it's very simple, guys. It keeps things fresh. Now, Boozer Wrestling, aka BWE, has come out. It's an insider account. We've talked about many of their stories, and the accuracy rate is incredibly high. Boozer came out and tweeted saying, "Talents going to NXT is great for them and for the brand. Sometimes you need to start from the root and solve the problem. Ali and Corbin. Throughout the year, you'll see Throughout the year, you'll see talent transition around. It's not a bad sign. It's a great sign. Happy for them. They'll have fun finding themselves. Ali loves to wrestle and help talents. Corbin enjoys stories and persona development. Both will excel the talents over there, help shape them for the future." And it's seriously a win-win situation because, again, not only is it keeping things fresh, but now it's giving these two an opportunity to do something, while guys like Apollo Crews, for example, who just recently got drafted, will actually be given an opportunity to be on TV and have matches and things like that, which, by the way, for those who don't know, WWE personnel are pretty high on Apollo Crews as well. So with NXT getting some main roster talent, obviously that means some talent will get called up. And I do find this kind of weird because they just had the draft, but it does make sense. There has been a collective amount of reports in the last in the last month or several weeks, right? And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, essentially Worked Wrestling and Boozer have come out and said Ilya Dragunov is expected to be called up. Now Worked Wrestling on Twitter came out and said, look, Dragunov could be called up as soon as, SummerSlam is over, basically entailing that WWE kind of has like a long-term plan for calling up talent. Also, other names that have been mentioned are Dijak, Creed Brothers, and Braun Breaker, which obviously I think is actually a good thing, right? You're going to bring some main roster guys down to NXT, let them, kind of find their final form, help develop the talent, and then at the same time, too, you could have guys from NXT, guys or girls, right? They could go up to from NXT to the main roster and then do some really cool things. I like this method, right? I see a lot of people on Twitter trying to bury this, and I just think Twitter has become an absolute shit show when it comes to wrestling fans and just over hating for the purpose of engagement. I don't know. I talked about this the other day. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed all of the shows this weekend. Under Siege was great. Night of Champions was great. Battleground was great. Night of Champions, all these Double or Nothing, all of them were great. But I think WWE is right now the greatest company to produce a wrestling show. I do think that. And I think a lot of people on the internet are super comfortable telling me what I should enjoy or not enjoy. And I just don't simply think that's fair because I'm not telling you guys what to enjoy or not enjoy. I think WWE has a very good system in place where talent can move around from NXT to the main roster or the main roster to NXT. Now, with that being said, it is really important that WWE continues to develop the personas and the character work for these guys going into the main roster, because that will be the thing that makes people care. And I'm offering this opinion based on the fact that if you watch WWE, the guys who get the vignettes, the guys who are getting the backstage segments, the people that are actually there, formulating this character, those are the ones that resonate with the fans the most. So ultimately, a lot of people are trying to tell me that I'm wrong for thinking this way, but I'm seeing it with my own eyes and in my own opinion as the right way to do things. Now, when you look at ROH versus NXT, ROH is not a developmental for AEW. In fact, it took over Dark and Dark Elevation. I think ROH is cool, but now it's getting to the point where it's really starting to emulate Dark and Dark Elevation. It's starting to lose the thing that I like most about it. If AEW utilized ROH the same way WWE utilized NXT, I think it would solve a massive amount of problems, because you can have main roster guys go there. You can have the call-ups happen as well. It ends up working in the long term. With that being said, we're going to turn our attention to AEW. Tony Schiavone, we got an update on Tony Schiavone, because if you guys didn't know, he has come out and publicly talked about his contract ending in April 2024, and he says there is no guarantee that he will get re-signed. This actually happened on a new podcast, What Happened When, a new episode with Conrad Thompson, and Thompson basically jokingly asked him about his lifetime contract, and Tony Schiavone says that was a lie unless his life ends by April next year. There's no guarantee that they're going to re-sign me. That's how I approach life. No guarantees. Klondike Bill told me one time, the job is a day-to-day thing, Tony. That's how I approach my life. And it was funny because then, he was saying that WWE would not be an option because his wife would divorce him. And then it kind of became this whole thing. Tony Schiavone is absolutely incredible. Obviously, as somebody prior to AEW existing, when Tony Schiavone was not in AEW, I always want to see Tony Schiavone go into WWE. Now, obviously, if you look at history tells you more than likely that ain't ever going to happen. You never say never in the wrestling business, but more than likely that's not going to happen. When AEW came around and Tony Schiavone became the voice of AEW, it immediately elevated AEW, in my opinion, because you have Jim Ross, you have Excalibur, you have Tony Schiavone. All three of these guys are good at what they do. They each have something that they're good at, and collectively, it really helps the product. Tony Schiavone's contract ending in April, I see people on Twitter or Discord talking about how more than likely he won't stay with the company. I just don't think that is reasonable. I think AEW would be stupid to miss out on Tony Schiavone. AEW will also be stupid to miss out on giving us an announcement that everybody wants to hear, because Tony Khan and AEW have announced on social media that Tony Khan will have an announcement on AEW Dynamite tonight, May 31st, 2023, and it is involving AEW Collision. Now, the thing with AEW Collision is that every single week so far, Tony Khan is offering some sort of announcement. Some people like it, some people hate it. I personally don't like it. I think you guys know, you really the essence and the aura and the energy of an announcement feels major when it happens once in a while. The fact that it's happening every single week now, it just does not feel important. But I'm excited because I have a feeling that this announcement is going to obviously have something to do with the tagline for the show. Right? Now, I've been on record saying this. I will say it a million times. I really don't give a shit. If it is in fact true that the trademark that AEW has, the Second Coming for CM Punk, if that's what they're branding the show, I don't like it. I won't sit here and pretend to like it. I think it's garbage. If they do something different, cool. I think you need to do something to make the show special. CM Punk coming back, obviously you need to make it special. I think AEW will just flat out announce that CM Punk's returning. But at the same time, too, Tony Khan has all of these major announcements. We have a couple weeks away until the debut show. I feel like Tony Khan is going to continue stretching this out, and that's just the reality. We'll see how that impacts TV ratings, but of course, as you guys know, I don't give a shit about TV ratings, and yeah. Nonetheless, we'll see what goes down. What do you guys think the big announcement is? Let me know, and I'll talk to you guys soon.